Mr. Tesla, you have gained fame as a man who has interfered in cosmic processes. Recently, you frightened good people by claiming that with vibrations, you can cut the earth like an apple with a knife. Here in Colorado Springs, you have created lightning. Man has never done that before. The sky is crossed by thousands of lightning bolts, and thousands of thunderclaps strike the mountain peaks. The ground trembles, and animals and birds flee in wild fear. I thank you for your kindness in agreeing that we take shelter in this house. Here, I feel safe. My name is John Smith, and I'm a journalist for the Bulletin of Immortality. The editor of that paper is Miss Emily Dickinson, and the director is Mr. Walt Whitman.
Miss Dickinson is a poetess whose verses I value, and Mr. Whitman holds views that are very close to me. I regularly read your paper, and so that this conversation may flow more easily and quickly, we shall abolish time and space.
A miracle already at the beginning. Who are you, Mr. Tesla?
That is the right question, Mr. Smith, and I shall try to give you the right answer to it.
They say you are from the land of Croatia, from a region called Lika, where trees, stone, and the starry sky grow together with people. They say your homeland is a village that bears the name of a mountain flower, and that the house in which you were born stands beside the forest and the church.
Indeed, everything is so. The pillar of the house was the mother. She had golden hands. Her garden was the first to turn green, and her wheat the first to form ears. She wove the whitest linen and embroidered the most beautiful embroideries in the region. She knew the time by the flight of birds, and by the grass where a spring would flow. Before a storm, she would gather lightning needles in the field, and thus prevent misfortune and fire. The songs she had heard as a child, she sang to her children, or she invented new ones. She was 60 years old, and, for a joke, would tie 3 of her eyelashes together. Is that not wondrous?
It is astonishing how certain people have parents who are to some extent like themselves.
The seed of a plant must fall on suitable soil, and it must be watered, tended, and waited for until it sprouts and puts forth leaves. So it is with every man or being that has human form.
Does that mean that such a form is not always a sign that someone is a man?
I have convinced myself of that many times.
Mr. Tesla, a poet, spoke of a spaceship that descended in Smiljan and left a male child with a virtuous village priest and his wife, a child whom they named Nikola.
Poets interpret the phenomena of this world better than other people.
Before that happened, a meteor appeared over Lika, a beacon for the starship.
That meteor was also described by my father. He calls it a glowing celestial body.
If one child was born thus, are not all children of heavenly origin?
The universe was the cradle of the first men. From it, thereafter issued only those who would create something and do something for the human race.
Which children are from that cradle?
Shakespeare, Leonardo da Vinci, that lad Amadeus. Of course, there are others.
The first is a poet, the second a painter and scientist, the third a composer.
All of them are only different manifestations of the same spirit.
Did they too arrive on Earth by spaceship?
There were also those who were pushed down. But do not worry about them. They are like cats. They land on their feet even if you throw them from the top floor of the Waldorf Astoria.
While we watched the lightning flash and listened to the thunder roll, you said, "It is like in the ray of the microcosm, when Lucifer, at the head of a million-strong army, soars into heaven."
Everyone was in love with Lucifer. Even the one who flew on the wings of the mind could not resist him.
Is he too from the cosmic cradle?
He is. I hear that my Serbs are complaining about something. What do they lack? They have the bishop and me, the highest things on earth, poetry and science.
Who, in fact, are the Serbs?
an intermediary tribe among the nations, traders in solar energy on Earth. Their goods are selling poorly today, so they have grown worried.
Let us return to your life. You were educated in Graz, studied in Prague, worked in Budapest and Paris. Then you went to America.
America is spiritual soil. That is why I came and remained here. After the revolution, Lenin invited me to Russia, but I thanked him and declined. The reason was not that I foresaw what would happen there. Russia is a summer noon, saturated with dark energies that would hinder my work. America is a bright spring morning.
I do not understand you, Mr. Tesla.
On this planet, there are regions that are sources of negative spiritual energies, and those that are not. America is a region of positive energies. Sometimes, at night, I see troops of Mayas and Aztecs marching along the roads of this land, hurrying toward cities with gates of the sun and the moon. Those who live here now breathe their air, drink the water they drank, eat the fruits they ate, and the same stars shine above them. From that intermingling, a new race will be born. In America, the future of the human race will arise, then its temporary downfall. After that will come the age called the Golden, and that age, too, will be temporary.
Please explain that.
Let us leave the explanations to the readers of the Bulletin of Immortality, Mr. Smith, and let us continue our conversation.
It is assumed that you have thousands of discoveries and inventions.
Possibly. I have forgotten their number.
The futurists say that the 20th and 21st centuries were born from the head of Nikola Tesla. They celebrate the rotating magnetic field and sing hymns to the induction motor. They call their creator a hunter who caught the light from the depths of the earth in his net, and a warrior who captured the fire from the sky. The father of alternating currents will make physics and chemistry rule half the world. Industry will proclaim him its supreme saint, and bankers the greatest benefactor. Wireless telegraphy and radar will abolish time and space on Earth. Rocket weapons and rocket airships are his works. He has gladdened the gods of war with many inventions and confirmed them in their intention that not a single day on this planet shall pass without blood and death. In the laboratory of Nikola Tesla, the atom was first split. There was created the weapon that causes earthquakes by vibrations. There the black cosmic ray was also discovered. 5 races will pray to him in the temple of the future because he taught them the great secret of how Empedocles' elements may be made to drink the life forces from the ether.
It is obvious that you secretly write modern verses. Yes, those are some of my more important discoveries. I am nevertheless a defeated man. I did not achieve the greatest thing I could have.
What is that, Mr. Tesla?
I wanted to illuminate the entire Earth. There is enough electricity in it for it to become a second sun. Light would shine around the equator like a ring around Saturn.
What joy to find oneself outside the Earth and see that.
I wanted to create polar light in various regions of this planet. It is possible. And why then should only those at the North Pole and near it enjoy it? If for no other reason, it should be done for aesthetic reasons. For those reasons, I constructed gigantic astronomical mirrors that would display in our sky the stars of other galaxies, the dark side of the moon, or the flight of a comet that will appear in 100 years.
That would be a cosmic fair to which saints and angels would rush.
Most of my discoveries were made for the good of people. I built windmills that the sun would turn and grind in them a part of its heat and light. That solar flour would be stored for the months of cold and darkness. I made a machine that controls the terrible power of the wind, creates from it ramparts firm as steel, and a weapon behind which desolation remains. With it, one can also raise a storm over entire regions and master the clouds, rain, and snow. I discovered a way to bring large quantities of water from the ocean by electricity and turn deserts into green and fertile fields. I invented an automaton from which the race of robots will arise. In peace they will be of use to men, and in war they will fight in their stead. There exists the energy of memory, which preserves what the three times represent. I have captured its particles with which I shall record the quarrel of the gods on Olympus, the battle on Kosovo Field, the arrival of Lafayette in America, or some other event. In the universe, there is no difference between what exists and what is invented. Both deed and thought are real.
Mr. Tesla, how is it that all man's strivings and efforts toward greatness and good are only begun or half finished, while that which is evil and harmful is accomplished without difficulty?
That is because the human race has not matured for the great and the good. In Colorado Springs, I filled the earth with electricity. In the same way, we can fill it with other energies, such as positive psychic energies. They are in the music of Bach or Mozart, or in the verses of a great poet. In the earth's interior, there exist the energies of cheerfulness, peace, and love. Their expressions are the flower that grows from the earth, the food we receive from it, and everything that makes it man's homeland. I spent years seeking a way in which those energies might influence people. The beauty and scent of a rose can be taken as medicine, and the sun's rays as food. Life has an infinite number of forms, and the duty of the scientist is to discover them in every form of matter. Three things are essential in this. Everything I do is a search for them. I know I shall not find them, but I shall not abandon them either.
What are those things?
One is the question of food. With what stellar or earthly energy shall the hungry on earth be fed? With what wine shall all the thirsty be given to drink, so that their hearts may rejoice and they understand that they are gods? I know that with 5 loaves it is possible to feed 5,000, and that water can become wine. I know, equally, that the hungry and the thirsty killed the one who fed and gave them drink, and that they would do it again if he appeared. The second thing is how to destroy the energies of evil and suffering in which the whole of man's life passes. They sometimes appear as epidemics from the depths of the universe. In this century, those diseases have spread from the earth throughout the cosmos. The one who is called the Light of Asia knows the answer to that. He is no more, and evil and suffering have from glowing heat become the only sky above us. The third thing is, does there exist in the universe superfluous light? I have discovered a star which, by all astronomical and mathematical laws, can disappear without anything apparently changing. That star is in this galaxy. Its light can be compressed to such density that it fits into a sphere smaller than an apple, yet heavier than the solar system. It is the source of life that will flow when life on earth begins to wither and fade. A Persian carried that sphere in his hand, but he was the only one on this planet. After him, there remain temples in which the fire no longer burns. Religion and philosophy teach that man can become Christ, Buddha, and Zarathustra. What I seek is matter, greater and more impossible. It is what to do so that in the universe every man will be born as Christ, Buddha, and Zarathustra.
Mr. Tesla, you once said that you believe Archimedes found the fulcrum from which he could lift the earth, but that he did not do it.
It was clear to him that if he moved it, he would have to move the other 9 planets, the Sun, the Milky Way, and so on into infinity.
Would he have reached beyond the Milky Way? If he had moved the earth, everything would have been possible. He was, however, a reasonable man, and it does not befit such a man to thrash about in infinity. I assume all that is not a joke. What would you have done in his place, Mr. Tesla?
I do not deal with levers like Archimedes, but with electricity, and I try not to set the earth on fire. Remember, young man, as long as man does not understand that Munchausen acted quite naturally when he pulled himself out of the lake by his own pigtail, he will remain on earth. To the logic of Munchausen's pigtail, I owe many of my discoveries. Gravity is a force that holds everything together. The proof that it is not a universal law is the bird's wing. I know that gravity is favorable to everything that is meant to fly, and my intention is not to make an aeroplane or a rocket, but to restore to man the awareness of his own wings. Further, I am trying to awaken the energies that are found in vacuums. Vacuums are the greatest sources of energy. What is considered emptiness is only a manifestation of unawakened matter. There is no emptiness on earth, nor in the universe. In the black holes of which the astronomers speak are the most powerful energies and sources of life.
In your youth, you wanted to create a perpetuum mobile.
Since science has existed, and it has existed as long as the human race, it has done nothing else but make perpetuum mobile. Everything that has been invented and created is only wheels, levers, flywheels, couplings, and other parts of that machine. I am convinced that it was created by many geniuses and afterwards destroyed.
I do not understand why they would destroy it if it is the dream of all science.
Because it is perfection, and in perfection there is always an end. I create it all my life, but I try not to make it.
What does that mean?
That I have it finished in my head, but I do not realize it as I do my other discoveries. The perpetuum mobile is a spiritual machine, and if it is transferred into physical reality, it ceases to work. If we were in some world outside the earth, that would be all right. It would work and be visible. And perhaps that will still be possible at the hour of departure from here. We shall arrange a splendid theatrical performance. Invite to it the elite of the city of New York, journalists and photographers. It would be amusing.
You are a great lover of the theater, a writer of the play, the director, and the principal actor.
Let us not exaggerate. I am only a magician in the square called planet Earth.
Mr. Edison, Marconi, and many others raged, and did you great harm because of that.
Those were jokes which they took as something against them. The main performances were those at the Chicago Fair and at the Paris exhibition. I performed antics with a metal egg that turns at my command, experiments with flaming swords, the passage of great currents through the body, the melting of a steel bar by my own bodily current. There were also unforeseen performances, such as the one with the earthquake caused by vibrations. The multi-story buildings in the quarter swayed, especially the police station building. Do you remember the biblical story of Joshua?
The one who, marching around Jerusalem occupied by the enemy, with trumpets brought down the walls and towers of that city?
He turned the same vibrations into sound. That is nevertheless more beautiful. Theater are also my famous dinners. People considered it an exceptional honor to be invited to them. They had a royal table and could see Tesla's wonders. I made little suns and held them in my hand, wove a wreath of fiery lightnings around my head, or adorned the chamber with multicolored lights that flowed from my fingers. I never repeated an experiment, so the guests always expected a surprise. I enjoyed arranging such dinners, and I also enjoyed it when others arranged them for me. Especially dear to me is the one in London. They seated me in Faraday's armchair and treated me to whiskey from the legacy of that greatest among physicists.
Was there theater in your youth, Mr. Tesla?
There was, but of a different kind. What a glorious fight broke out on the ship on which I traveled to America. Before that, there was the still more glorious deception of the Austro-Hungarian Imperial Royal Army. I became a military deserter and for a year hid in the mountains of Lika.
What did you do there the whole year?
Among other things, I began the construction of the Perpetuum mobile.
Among those youthful comedies is also gambling. For a time, they say, the passion for gambling so seized you that you spent all the money from the parental home.
That, sir, was not a comedy. Gambling is of cosmic origin, a testing of the favor of certain forces toward us and the discovery of those forces. In it, there exists a law that you always win. Unfortunately, I did not discover it. There were certainly also years far from play, especially here in America, when I locked horns with the gentlemen scientists and professors. Mr. Edison led the way. With him I waged the War of the Currents, which lasted too long. With another Italian I waged a war over the radio. There were thefts of inventions and vanished patents. Then there is that terrible fire of 1894, in which all my papers, plans, and machines perished. Mr. Adams offered me help, and I thanked him, and after 5 years I created everything anew and raised a new laboratory. Worse than that were the frequent periods of pennilessness that prevented me from working and realizing what I intended. The worst, however, was that year when, soon after arriving in America, I dug ditches for the sewerage. No less dreadful was the poverty in Paris before that. Enough about that.
Mr. Tesla, you astonished New York by returning the check to Westinghouse for the royalties on one of your inventions. You lost millions of dollars, and at that time you had not a cent in your pocket.
Mr. Westinghouse was the first in this country who had understanding for my work and who helped me. He was then in financial difficulties, so I could not take that check.
It happened that you were rich, yet you acquired no house here.
I needed money in order to work on new inventions. Besides that, whenever I could, I helped friends and people from my homeland.
Mr. Tesla, in the last days you will have nothing. You will live on small loans and gifts that good people will give you.
That is how it should be. Man returns to his home, where everything awaits him.
On the window of your room in the Hotel Waldorf Astoria, on the 33rd floor, pigeons alight every morning.
Man must be sentimental toward birds. That is because of their wings. He once had them too, real and visible.
You have not stopped flying since those distant days in Smiljan.
I wanted to take off from the roof and fell. Wrong childhood calculations. Do not forget, young man, wings are everything in life.
An archangel with 6 pairs of flaming wings and the face of Nikola Tesla is painted in the Church of the Uranian Brothers in San Diego, California. You have certainly been there?
I have not managed it, but one day I shall go. Although, I confess, I have avoided visits to churches ever since childhood. My father was a priest, so he wanted to send me to the seminary as well. I did everything so that it would not come to that.
The church, it seems, was destined for you.
Through no fault of mine.
Let us return, if you allow, to the beginning and the question, who are you, Mr. Tesla? One of your friends said, a cosmic phenomenon, a scientist, the highest realized human possibility. Poets call you an angel who descended to earth to perform certain tasks around the light. The editors of your paper, Miss Dickinson, would probably prefer the angel. Not only she, Mr. Tesla. An angel is needed by everyone.
Then let it be an angel. Continue with the questions, Mr. Smith.
I would have one very personal question.
You are blushing like a virgin at her first love meeting. I suppose what it is.
You never married? No love of yours for any woman is known. Photographs from your youth show you as an exceptionally handsome man. At 60, you will look like a 40-year-old, and your strength and swiftness will be superhuman. An acquaintance will see how one December day you slipped on the ice, turned in the air, and landed on your feet. Only a cat does something like that.
By electricity, I am closely related to that animal. Sometimes I think, all nature is a cat that God strokes on the back, and lo, there are lightnings and thunders.
Your height is considerably greater than that of other men, so you are immediately recognized by that as well. The greatest beauties always hovered around the attractive and famous scientist, but he remained a bachelor all his life.
Many married me off, but the funniest marriage was the one for which Dr. Lazar Kostić, otherwise a splendid poet, acted as matchmaker. Since he himself had been rejected by Lenka Dunjerska, he wrote to me that I should marry her. He wanted to unite the greatest Serbian mind and the greatest Serbian beauty. It resembled his philosophy of intercrossing, according to which beauty is the fundamental principle in the structure of the world. I thanked him and explained why that was impossible.
Why, Mr. Tesla?
He wanted to create a heavenly pair on earth, and the time for that is not yet. I shall tell you what I think about sex. There are two paths, much sex or none at all. The middle serves for the renewal of the human race. Too much sex in certain people nourishes and strengthens vitality and spirit. Abstinence from sex does the same in other people. I chose that second path.
And one more personal question. When in 1917 you were to share the Nobel Prize with Edison, you refused it.
Mr. Edison is a great scientist, but he meddled too much in my life. No, I could not take part in that Italian opera.
You made the main discoveries earlier, yet you did not receive that prize. What is at stake? Envy? Intrigues? Misunderstanding?
There was undoubtedly that. Something else, however, repelled people from my discoveries.
What is that?
I think it is the human fear of what most of those discoveries represent. People sensed that beside great good, they would also bring great evil. Therefore, they overlooked them and often forgot them.
You were aware that they would bring evil, yet you continued to work on them, Mr. Tesla?
It is mine to work, and not to worry about what people will do with it.
Those are the words of Leonardo da Vinci when they asked him why he made war machines.
I remember. They reproached him for those ridiculous catapults for the Duke of Milan. He was right. The duty of the scientist is to create and not to think about the consequences of creation.
That is the amorality of science.
In the universe and in nature, there exists a higher morality. The scientist should follow that. As for human morality, all history could be reduced to two words: blood and gold. And only blood flows and gold shines. Those are the verses of Endre Adi. So it will be as long as the morality of the stars does not prevail among men.
The morality of the stars? What is that, Mr. Tesla?
The oldest philosophical teaching about the cosmic laws and governance according to them. Those laws have been violated. They must be re-established.
Your admirers greatly regret that you attack Albert Einstein and his theory of relativity. Strange is your assertion that matter has no energy. Everything is permeated with energy. Where does it come from?
First, there was energy. Afterwards, matter.
Mr. Tesla, that is as if you said that you gave birth to your father, and not he to you.
Precisely thus stands the matter with the birth of the universe. Matter was created from the primordial and eternal energy which we know as light. It shone, and the stars, planets, man, and everything that is on earth and in the universe appeared. Matter is an expression of the infinite forms of light. Therefore, energy is older than it. There are 4 laws of creation. The first is that the source of everything is in the inconceivable, a black particle which the mind cannot imagine, nor mathematics measure. Into that particle the whole universe fits. The second law is the spreading of darkness, which is the true nature of light, from the inconceivable and its transformation into light. The third law is the need of light to become matter. The fourth law runs, there is no beginning nor end. The three preceding laws have always lasted, and creation is eternal.
In your hostility toward the theory of relativity, you go so far that on the celebrations of your birthdays, you hold lectures against its creator.
Remember, it is not space that is curved, but man's mind, which cannot comprehend infinity and eternity. If that were clear to the creator of relativity, he would have gained immortality, even physical if that were to his liking. Proof of his upside-down theory is also his playing the violin. For him it is recreation and consolation. He plays at domestic gatherings with ignoramuses, such as he himself is.
You are truly unjust toward him, Mr. Tesla. Do you not have poetry as recreation and consolation? You arrived in America with luggage under your arm, in which, by your own admission, the most precious thing was a notebook with verses.
Verses are words, and Mr. Einstein dared to touch music. That is equal to a crime. If his theory were correct, he would have become a great musician, like Handel, or at least Gluck.
Excuse me, you're not that either. Yet you claim that your theory is correct.
I am a part of light, and it is music. Light fills my six senses. I see it, hear it, feel it, smell it, touch it, and think it. Thinking is for me the sixth sense. The particles of light are written notes. One lightning can be an entire sonata. 1,000 lightnings are a concert. For that concert, I created ball lightnings that are heard on the icy peaks of the Himalayas.
I still do not understand why you are so much against Einstein.
He offended against Pythagoras and mathematics, and the scientist cannot and must not offend against those two. Numbers and equations are signs by which the music of the spheres is marked. If Einstein had heard its sounds, he would not have created the theory of relativity. Those sounds are a message to the mind that life has meaning, that in the whole universe there exists perfect harmony, and that beauty is the cause and consequence of creation, that music is the eternal circling of the starry heavens. The smallest star is a finished composition, and at the same time a part of the celestial symphony. The beats of man's heart are parts of that symphony on earth. Newton realized that the secret is in the geometrically regular arrangement and movement of the celestial bodies. He recognized that harmony is the supreme law in the universe. Curved space is chaos. Chaos is not music. Albert Einstein is the messenger of the time of noise and fury.
Mr. Tesla, do you hear that music?
I always hear it. My spiritual ear is as large as the sky we see above us. I enlarged my physical ear with radar. According to the theory of relativity, two parallel lines will meet in infinity. Thereby, Einstein's curve will also become a straight line. Once created, sound lasts forever. For man, it may disappear, but it continues to last in the silence that is its greatest power. No, I have nothing against Mr. Einstein. He is a kind man and has done certain good things. Some of that will become part of the music. I shall write to him and try to explain that the ether exists, and that its particles are what holds the universe in harmony and life in eternity.
Our paper intends to open a correspondence school of immortality. The teachers chosen are Plato, Homer, Kalidasa, Valmiki, Li Tai Po, Shakespeare, Milton, Michelangelo, Raphael, Cervantes, Goethe, Dostoevsky, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, and others. To each of them, a festive number of the bulletin will be devoted, in which his work will be interpreted and his life told. A happy circumstance is that you are among the living, so we shall begin with you. This interview we can also call the first lesson of that school.
You are mistaken, Mr. Smith. All those you have been pleased to mention are still among the living. What is more, they are more alive than many of those who now walk the earth.
Without doubt, because of them it still turns. I meant their physical presence.
There is time. You will meet some of them and take off your hat to greet them. Now let us use the happy circumstance of my physical presence here.
Tell me, please, what are the conditions for the adaptation of an angel on earth?
I have 10 of them. Note carefully.
I shall write down every one of your words. Esteemed Mr. Tesla.
The first condition is a high awareness of one's mission and the work that is to be performed. It must, even if dimly, exist in earliest youth. Let us not be falsely modest. The oak knows that it is an oak, and the bush beside it that it is a bush. As a boy of 12, I was certain that I would come to Niagara Falls. For most of my discoveries, I already knew in childhood that I would realize them, although not quite clearly. The second condition of adaptation is perseverance. Everything I undertook, I finished. I was a 19-year-old when, on the advice of a friend, I decided to read the complete Voltaire. That literary monster wrote about 100 volumes of large format and fine print. I read him, but I did not succeed in learning whether the one who recommended him to me had done so as well. With the same perseverance, I treated everything I did. It became a part of me, so that I returned to an invention even after 30 years in order to perfect it.
What is the third condition of adaptation, Mr. Tesla?
The directing of all vital and spiritual energies toward the work. Hence also the purification from many things and needs that man has. By that I lost nothing, but only gained. I gained so much that I rejoiced in every one of my days and nights. Write down. Nikola Tesla was a happy man. The fourth condition is the adaptation of the bodily structure to the work.
How do you mean that, Mr. Tesla?
First of all, that is the maintenance of that structure. Man's body is a perfect machine. I know my structure and what is good for it. The food of most people is harmful and dangerous to me. Because of that, I sometimes imagine that all the cooks of the world are in a conspiracy against me. Touch my hand.
It is cold.
Yes. The circulation of the blood can be controlled, as can many processes in us and around us. Why have you turned pale, young man?
I remembered a story, but let us leave that, please, Mr. Tesla.
We shall not continue the conversation until I hear what that is.
It's the story that Mark Twain wrote, The Mysterious Stranger, that wonderful little book about Satan, inspired by you.
The word Lucifer is dearer to me. Mr. Twain likes to joke. In childhood, I once recovered by reading his books. When we became acquainted here, and I told him that, he was so moved that he wept. We became friends, and he often came to my laboratory. Once he asked me to show him the machine that by vibrations produced a feeling of bliss. It was one of those inventions for amusement with which I sometimes occupied myself. I warned Mr. Twain how long he might remain under those vibrations. He did not obey me and remained longer. It ended with him, like a rocket, holding on to his trousers, rushing off to a certain room. It was devilishly funny, but I preserved seriousness. Let us return to the adaptation of the bodily structure. Besides food, sleep is also very important. From long and exhausting work that demanded superhuman effort, after 1 hour of sleep, I would completely recover. I acquired the ability to control sleep, and to fall asleep and wake at the hour I had appointed for myself. If something in what I am doing is not clear to me, I compel myself to think about it in sleep, and in that way find the solution. Bacon says that genius sometimes flees from the writing desk and from the laboratory into sleep. The fifth condition of adaptation is memory. Perhaps in most people, the brain is the guardian of cognitions about the world and of the knowledge they acquire in life. My brain occupies itself with more important things than memory. In me, it catches what is necessary to it at a given moment. That is what's around us, and it is only necessary to take it. Everything we have once seen, heard, read, and learned follows us in the form of light particles. To me, those particles are obedient and faithful. Goethe's Faust, my favorite book. I learned by heart in German as a student, and now I can recite it entire. My inventions I carried for years in my head, and only afterwards realized them.
You often mention the power of visualization.
To it, I perhaps owe everything I have created. The events of my life and my discoveries are before my eyes real, visible like every phenomenon and object. In youth, I was afraid of that, not knowing what it actually was. But later, I accepted that power as an exceptional gift and advantage. I cultivated it and jealously guarded it. By visualization, I also made corrections on most inventions. Then, thus finished, I made them. By it, I also solved complicated mathematical equations without writing down the numbers. In Tibet, because of that gift, I would have received the rank of a high lama.
Mozart would correct only 2 or 3 notes on a score. The composition was finished in his head before that.
Yes, that is how it is done. My sight and hearing are perfect, and, I may freely say, stronger than in other people. I hear thunder 150 miles away, and I see colors in the sky that others do not see. That enlargement of sight and hearing I already had as a child. Later, I developed it consciously.
In your youth, you were several times seriously ill. Is illness also one of the conditions of adaptation?
It is. It is often the consequence of a lack or exhaustion of the life forces, but often it is also a purification of spirit and body from the poisons that have accumulated. It is necessary that a man be ill from time to time. The source of most diseases is in the spirit. Therefore, the spirit can also cure most diseases. As a pupil, I fell ill of the cholera that was raging in Lika. I cured myself by the fact that my father allowed me to enroll in technical studies, which represented my life. Visions for me are not illness, but the ability of the mind to penetrate beyond the 3 earthly dimensions. I had them all my life, and I accepted them like all other phenomena around me. Once, in childhood, I was walking with my uncle by the river and said, "A trout will appear from the water. I shall throw a stone and cut it with it." That also happened. Frightened and astonished, my uncle cried, "Vade, retro, Satanas." He was a learned man and spoke Latin. I was in Paris when I saw my mother's death. In the sky, full of light and music, beautiful beings floated. One of them had mother's face, which looked at me with infinite love. After the vision disappeared, I knew that my mother had died.
What is the 7th adaptation, Mr. Tesla?
The knowledge of how psychic and vital energies are transformed into what we desire, and how mastery is achieved over all feelings. The Hindus call that Kundalini Yoga. These knowledges can be learned, for which many years are needed, or they are acquired by birth. I acquired most of them by birth. They are in the closest connection with sexual energy, which after light is the most widespread in the universe. Woman is the greatest thief of that energy, and thereby also of the spiritual powers. I always knew that and guarded myself. From myself I created what I wanted, a thinking and spiritual machine.
And the 9th adaptation, Mr. Tesla?
to do everything so that not a single day, not a single moment, if possible, is forgotten who we are and why we are on earth. Exceptional people who in life are tormented by illness, want, or whom society wounds too much with its stupidity, misunderstanding, persecution, and other misfortunes with which the earth swarms like a swamp with insects. They leave behind a work unfinished to the end. There are many fallen angels on earth. Eckermann asked Goethe, what would have happened if his life, which passed in harmonious and even happy circumstances, had been different? Goethe answered him, it would not have happened to me that I did not draw the main prize.
What is the 10th adaptation?
It is the most important. Write that Mr. Tesla played. He played all his life and enjoyed it.
Mr. Tesla, does that also apply to your discoveries and your work? Was that also play?
It was, dear boy. I so love to play with electricity. I always shudder when I hear about that Greek who stole the fire. A terrible story about chaining and eagles that peck his liver. Did Zeus not have enough lightnings and thunders that he was damaged for one ember? There is some misunderstanding here. Lightnings are the most beautiful toys that can be found. Do not forget to emphasize in your article. Nikola Tesla was the first man who created lightning.
Mr. Tesla, a moment ago you spoke of angels and their adaptation on earth.
Did I? It is the same. You may also write this. He dared to take upon himself the prerogatives of Indra, Zeus, and Perun. Imagine one of those gods in a black evening suit, with a top hat and white gloves arranging thunderings, fires, and earthquakes for the New York elite.
The readers of our paper love humor, but you have confused me with the statement that your discoveries, which are an immeasurable benefit to people, also represent play. Many will frown at that.
Dear Mr. Smith, the trouble is precisely that people are too serious. If they were not, they would be happier and would live considerably longer. A Chinese proverb says that seriousness shortens life. Li Taipo preferred a visit to a tavern to a visit to the imperial court. But so that the newspaper readers may not frown, let us return to the things they consider important.
They would gladly hear in what your philosophy consists.
Life is a rhythm that must be recognized. I feel that rhythm and guide myself by it and surrender to it. It is very grateful and has given me the knowledge I have. Everything that lives is connected by deep and wonderful bonds. Man and the stars, the amoeba and the sun, our heart and the circling of an infinite number of worlds. Those bonds are unbreakable, but they can be tamed and propitiated, so that man himself begins to create new and different relations in the world, without violating the old ones. Knowledge comes from the universe. Our sight is its most perfect receiver. We have two eyes, the earthly and the spiritual. One must strive that they become one eye. The universe is alive in all its manifestations, like some thinking animal. Stone is a thinking and feeling being, as are plants, beast, and man. The star that shines seeks that we look at it, and if we were not too absorbed in ourselves, we should understand its language and messages. Man must attune his breathing, eyes and ears, to the breathing, eyes and ears of the universe.
While you speak, it seems to me that I am listening to a Buddhist text, a Taoist discourse, or a treatise of Paracelsus.
It seems good to you. That means that there exists general knowledge and truths that man has always possessed. By my feeling and experience, in the universe there is only one matter and one supreme energy, with an infinite number of manifestations of life. More wonderful than everything is that by the discovery of one secret in nature, you discover the others as well. They do not hide, they are around us, but we are blind and deaf to them. If we attach ourselves emotionally to them, they come to us of themselves. There are many apples, but only one Newton. He sought precisely that apple which fell before him.
A question that perhaps should have been asked at the beginning of this conversation. What's electricity for you, Mr. Tesla?
Everything is electricity. First, there is light, the infinite source from which matter issues and is distributed in all the forms that represent the universe and the earth with all its forms of life. Black is the true face of light. That we do not see it as such is an exceptional mercy toward man and the other creatures. One of its particles possesses luminous, thermal, nuclear, radiation, chemical, mechanical, and as yet unknown energies. It has a power that can move the earth from its path. It is the true Archimedean lever.
Mr. Tesla, you are too partial toward electricity.
Electricity is I myself, or, if you will, electricity in human form. That is you too, Mr. Smith, but you are not aware of it.
Is that the origin of your ability to pass through the body an electric current of 1,000,000 volts?
Imagine a gardener attacked by the plants. That would indeed be mad. Man's body and brain are composed of many energies. In me, there is most electricity. The energy that is different in everyone is what constitutes man's I or soul. In other creatures, that is their essence. The soul of a plant is not the soul of a mineral and an animal. The work of the brain and death are manifested by light. My eyes in youth were black, now they are blue, and as time passes and the strain of the brain becomes stronger, they are closer to whiteness. White is the celestial color. One morning a pigeon flew in through my window, which I fed. It wanted to tell me that it was dying. From its eyes issued jets of light. Never in the eyes of any creature have I seen so much light as in that pigeon.
The workers in your laboratory talk of flashes of light, flames, and lightnings that appear if you are angry or before some danger.
Those are psychic discharges or warnings that I should take care. Light has always been on my side. Do you know who revealed to me the rotating magnetic field and the induction motor, which made me famous at the age of 26? One summer evening in Budapest, I was watching the sunset with my friend Zigeti. Thousands of fires turned, flaming in thousands of colors. I remembered Faust and recited verses from it. And then, as in a flash, I saw how the magnetic field turns and the induction motor works. I saw them in the sun.
The hotel staff say that in the time of thunderstorms, you shut yourself in the room and talk to yourself.
I talk with the lightnings and thunders.
With them? In what language, Mr. Tesla?
Most often in my mother tongue. In it there are words and sounds, especially in poetry, that are suitable for that.
The readers of our paper would be very grateful if you would interpret that.
Sound exists not only in thunder, but also in lightning. In it, it is transformed into brilliance and color, and colors can be listened to. Language is of words, which means that it is of sounds and colors. Every thunder and lightning is different and has its name. Some of them I call by the names of those who were close to me in life, or by those whom I admire. In the sky flash and thunder, my mother, sister, brother Danilo, the poet Zmaj, and personages from Serbian history. Names such as Isaiah, Ezekiel, Leonardo, Beethoven, Goya, Faraday, Pushkin, and all the unextinguished fires designate flocks and the intertwinings of lightnings and thunders that do not cease the whole night, and bring to the earth beneficial rain, or set forests and human settlements on fire. There are lightnings and thunders, and those the brightest and most powerful, that do not disappear. They return, and I recognize them among thousands.
According to you, science and poetry are the same?
They are two eyes of one face. William Blake taught that the whole universe was born from imagination, that it maintains it, and that it will exist as long as there is even one man on earth. With it is as with to astronomers' point, into which the stars of all galaxies can be gathered. It is a creative energy equal to the luminous.
Is imagination for you more real than life?
It gives birth to life. I nourished myself with my thoughts. I learned to control feelings, dreams, and visions. I always cultivated it, as I cultivated my enthusiasm. My whole long life I spent in enthusiasm. That was the source of my happiness. It also helped me, throughout all these years, to endure the work that was enough for 5 lives. It is best to work at night, because starlight and thoughts are in close connection.
You said that I too, like every creature, am light. That flatters me, but I confess it is not entirely clear to me.
Why should it need to be clear to you, Mr. Smith? It is enough that you believe in it. Everything is light. In one of its rays is the destiny of a people. Every people has its ray in that great luminous source which we see as the sun. And remember, no man who has existed has died. They have transformed themselves into light, and as such continue to exist. The secret is that those light particles return to the original state.
That is resurrection.
I prefer to call it. Return to one of the previous energies. Christ and some others knew that secret. I sought how human energy may be preserved. It is one of the forms of light, sometimes equal to the supreme celestial light. I did not seek that for myself, but for the good of all. I believe that my discoveries will make life easier and more bearable for people, and direct them towards spirituality and morality.
Do you consider that time can be abolished?
Not entirely, because the first property of energy is that it transforms itself. It is in eternal transformations, like the clouds of the Taoists. But it is possible to influence, so that man preserves consciousness even after earthly life. In every corner of the universe there exist energies of life. One of them is also immortality, whose origin is outside man and awaits him. The universe is spiritual. We are only half so. The universe is more moral than we. Therefore, we must recognize its nature and attune our life to it. I am not a scientist. Science is perhaps the most suitable way to find the answer to the question that has always pursued me, and that has turned my days and nights into fire.
What is that question?
How your eyes have shone. What I wanted to learn is, what becomes of a star that falls and a sun that is extinguished? The star falls as dust or seed upon this or other worlds, and the sun disperses into our thoughts, into the lives of many creatures, into that which will be born as new light, or the cosmic wind scatters it through infinity. I understand that that is necessary, and that it is calculated into the structure of the universe. The matter, however, is that one of those stars and one of those suns, even if the smallest, be preserved.
But Mr. Tesla, you understand that that is necessary, and that it is calculated into the structure of the world.
When it becomes clear to a man that his highest goal is to run after a falling star and try to catch it, he will understand that life was given to him precisely for that, and he will be saved. In the end, he will catch the star.
And what will happen then?
The Creator will laugh and say, "It fell only so that you might run after it and catch it."
Is all that not in contradiction with the cosmic pain, which you so often mention in your writings? And what is that cosmic pain?
They are not contradictions, because we are on earth. It is a disease of whose existence the vast majority of people are not aware. Hence many other diseases, suffering, evil, misery, wars, and everything, because of which human life is an absurd and terrible phenomenon. That disease cannot be completely cured, but awareness of it will make it less heavy and dangerous. Whenever someone close and dear to me was hurt, I felt physical pain. That is because our bodies are of similar structure, and the souls bound by unbreakable threads. The incomprehensible sadness that sometimes seizes us means that somewhere, at the other end of this planet, a child or a noble man has died. The whole universe is in certain periods ill of itself or of us. The disappearance of some star or the appearance of a comet influences us more than we suspect. The bonds among the creatures on earth are still stronger. Because of our feelings and thoughts, a flower will smell more wonderfully, or fall silent. Those truths we must learn anew in order to be cured. The medicine is in our heart, and, equally, in the heart of the animal that we call the universe.
Mr. Tesla, you said that you would live to 140 years.
I was mistaken. In the 86th year, that which is called a short circuit will occur. On the 8th of January, 1943, when the chambermaid of the Hotel New Yorker enters, she will find him with closed eyes, with a smile on his face. And that will be the truth.
And on that day, a long search will begin for the secret weapon that he created. Officials of the mysterious Bureau of Investigation will seal and take away several crates with his manuscripts. For the contents of those crates, Americans, Russians, Germans, Arabs, and Chinese will search. 25 tons of chests, barrels, and bundles with the scientists' papers, plans, machines, and personal things will be transferred to Belgrade to the Nikola Tesla Museum. After a century, the scientist's legacy will be published and interpreted, unless, in the meantime, the gods of science and the gods of war decide that the earth should turn from its path. Gold will shine and blood will flow more than ever. Then from the sky ash will begin to fall. It will fall ever more strongly, and the last thing people will see will be the tall stone man who will walk through that black blizzard.
What a dark story. Please, Mr. Smith, open the window.
There is a white dove.
We shall give it hemp seed. It likes that. How it rejoices. Look, it is already disappearing into the blue.
Mr. Tesla, what is that Star Wars? They say it will be fought according to your discoveries.
Those discoveries refer to the higher state. By mistake, they reached those who misunderstood and misused them. They are plans and writings about the shifting of stellar and planetary paths, with the aim of achieving man's immortality.
Mr. Tesla, you are joking with me again.
Young man, do you not work for the Bulletin of Immortality? Miss Dickinson and Mr. Whitman would not consider that a joke.
Forgive me, that's from my confusion. It's said that here in Colorado Springs, you built a radio station with which you established contact with extraterrestrials.
That is a conversation by mathematics or Enoch's language.
The prophet Enoch?
Of the prophet and God's favorite. While I occupied myself with mathematics, I transferred myself into a state and place that can be described as paradise. I recovered by solving mathematical and astronomical equations. My radio station is, unfortunately, imperfect, and I succeeded only in receiving the numbers 1, 2, and 3. They come from Mars.
What do those numbers mean, Mr. Tesla? Is it that eternal trinity of all religions and philosophies?
You are too curious, Mr. Journalist. I shall not tell you. It will be wiser to look at what is happening with the lightnings and thunders. There is nothing more interesting than a storm and thunderings. My assistants have, it seems, made some mistake. The lightnings should have been so arranged that they circle around the mountain peak like storms of all colors and lights. There are tens of thousands of them. The mountain roars from them. There you have a picture of Star Wars. The weapon has been wrongly used, but we shall correct that. Let us hurry.
Mr. Tesla, wait! He rushes like a ray. Mr. Tesla! Where has that devilish man hidden himself? There is no one here except the raging lightnings that cut the sky and the thunders that strike the mountain. A true Walpurgis night from Faust.
Nikola, he has run away again. Home at once, Nikola.
Voice that comes from the sky. Who is speaking? Mr. Tesla, where have you disappeared to? We need to finish our conversation. Are you looking for him too, madam?
I am looking for Nikola, my boy. What has he done again? Always troubles with him.
Madam, I was talking with the scientist Nikola Tesla. No boy was here.
You have fallen asleep, young gentleman, and dreamed that. If you see my Nikola, please send him up. Tell him that mother is looking